What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Sunday, November 8th to all of you. This is the NFL kickoff show here on odds.com with my man, Rob Bebenek. Bebsy, happy Sunday. How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing pretty good, Jamie. I'm doing pretty good. I'm a week into sober November. I hate myself, but I feel better.
Well, I'm the opposite. I'm a weekend into a heavy boozing, celebrating the Breeders' Cup, and I feel filthy.
Well, we need a balance, Jimmy. That's our dynamic. You go one way, I go the other.
Yes, but I'm pumped. I'm ready to get paid in full. There's our guy, Nut Flush Allen. All the boys are in Vegas right now. A whole bunch of low baggers in Vegas partying hard. I wish I was there with you guys. Oh, man. God, what a great group. Heading over to Circa today. If any of you guys are in Vegas, get down to Circa. Get hammered up. I recently learned that Circa doesn't have a horse race book, so I'll never go there. How about that, Circa? You disrespect horses. I won't set foot on your property. Pricks. Mr. Fun Monk in the house. What up, Mr. Fun Monk? Matthew Edwards ready to go. Damon Santori, Kid, and Kyrie. KD and Kyrie. We got Sebastian. Dan Kelly says, I sure hope Jimmy goes over next Sunday's weather forecast. That did make me laugh out loud before the show started. Josh Murphy ready to go. Says, can we do prop bets, fellas? I'll give you one prop bet I'm on, and this is thanks to our Ron Walsek. I did bet the over 8.5 punts in that travesty of a Monday Nighter Jets-Patriots that Sam Darnold is not going to play in. What a mess. I took the Jets at +7 like an ass clown. Brian Watson, my man Kevin ready to go. Ostino Ligid, Chase Dozier, Bryce Cunningham, Raymond Reichart. We have a great group. David Stewart. Anyone liking the Seahawks today? I like them today. Bebsy and I are all over Seahawks today. Man, first half, full game, all over them. Viper, Ron Lofton, Shark Wannabe, AB. We have a great group. Comment War says, Falcons blowout victory. That's what I need. I'm all over them as well. There's a Schnizzle in the house. We got a diehard MMA podcast. Thank you. I picked up over a K on Friday, but Saturday wasn't nearly as glorious. We got props. You want props? Penny Bomb says props. All right, time to get to work. Robert Fitzgerald ready to go. Medium Ugly. Dav Fenn. Okay, time to go. Callum Knight. William Barry. Jeff McKee. Ashley Waite. Okay. Oh, Von Polo in the house. BJ Allen. All right, it's time to get to work. And Dan Kelly on that Seattle Buffalo over. And there is Nut Flush Allen. Oh, my God. The crazy woman at Circuit just told me that she could get us a table for 6 in the sports book for $5,000. And they don't have a horse book. Assholes. All right. So this is how we are working today. Today, our 1 p.m. games, we're going to break down right here for you guys live on YouTube. And then we're going to move to odds.com. That's where you have to find us for the 4 p.m., the afternoon and night games on Sunday and the Monday nighter. But the 1 p.m. games are going to be right here with you guys. Bebsy. Let's get to work. Let's go over. By the way, I did hit that Packers-Niners over. So I'm now 46-40, 53.5% up, 1.02 units, 1.19 plus ROI percentage, and my average line is -1 and 11. Bebsy sitting 33-20, 62.3%, 9.75 units, ROI plus 18.40%, average line -112. Bebsy, let's start by going over your action. Let me know if there's anything that you're more bullish on or something that you're concerned about. You doubled up on the Seahawks. First half, full game, beat market movement there. You have the Lions, Vikings under 53. By the way, Stafford is playing today.
That's wild. I don't know how you test positive for COVID on what was it, Wednesday? And he's playing on Sunday. But hey, I'm not an expert.
You have the Texans first half -3.5, Giants, Washington under 42, Steelers -13.5, and Patriots, Jets under 42.5. Any of those spots you like?
I like that Pats Jets under even more as time goes by. This is just two feudal teams. I really don't see either one of them putting up much points. And the one thing I'm a little bit concerned about, and I know I shouldn't be, but I am, is the Steelers. It's just a lot of points for a team that might just really take it easy this week, because this is another bye week for the Steelers. They should, in theory, shit stomp their opponent by 40 points, but we know we're not going to see that. We know they're not going to have the pedal down all game, so I'm a little worried about a possible backdoor cover there.
I'm still pretty confident in that spot there, but I can understand your concerns. I'm doubled up on the Seahawks. First half -1, full game -2.5. My man Tim Duncan saying, love the Bills. Too many on the Seahawks. I feel you.
Stafford never actually tested positive. He only came in contact with somebody who did. Okay. Well, that still kept half of the 49ers out on Thursday. Turns out KB was never positive at all. False positive. 4 guys sit out. I'm really glad I didn't jump on that game, because I was leaning betting the Niners to cover the spread.
I was fortunate to hit the over there. I doubled up on the Falcons. I'm also on the Lions, Vikings under 52.5. I'm on the Lions +4. I'm happy that my man Matt Stafford going to be there and ready to go. I doubled up on the Texans, and we'll go over the issues with the Texans right now. They have 3 linebackers out of the lineup due to COVID. I'm on the Jaguars team total under 20.5. I'm on the Washington Football Club -3, Steelers -14, the Cowboys team total under 13.5, and then I have the Jets +7, and the Patriots Jets under 42.5. And then this morning I added the Bears +6.5, and I just couldn't believe I'm getting the Bears +6.5, and it scares me when that happens. That's too many points. How could I possibly get the Bears against this Titans team that's so vulnerable defensively? And it scares the shit out of me when there's a line like that. And I almost didn't bet it just because I was like, obviously they want Bears money and they're going to get it. And then I took the over 8.5 punts in the trash Monday game. All right, let's go into the Seahawks spot right off the top. Bebsy. Seahawks open up at -1. That was a heavily juiced -1. Let me make sure I got all this set up here. A heavily juiced -1. And they're now sitting at -3. This total opened up at 51.5 and shot all the way up to 55. Money-wise, we have 75% of the cash on the Seahawks, 78% of the tickets on the Seahawks, and 80% of the money and tickets on the over. Bebsy, 6-1 Seahawks roll into Buffalo. Gorgeous weather down there. 63 Fahrenheit, sunny, 6 miles per hour. Russell Wilson rolling. 26 touchdown passes, 120.8 passer rating, leading the league. Their offense averaging 34.2 points per game. Their defense 24th in the league, allowing 28.4 points per game. Carlos Dunlap expected to make his Seahawks debut. Jamal Adams expected to return after missing 4 games due to a groin injury and non-COVID illness. But they are beaten up at running back. They played last week without 5 starters and 1 key backup in Carson Hyde. They're going to get Adams back, but Moyoa, Amadi, and Upati were all inactive, and Shaquille Griffin questionable. And these Bills are tricky to figure out. They're getting destroyed defensively. Matt Milano is limited to 15 snaps, and he's so important to this team. They have injuries with Norman, Micah Hyde, Vernon Butler on defense, and their defense looks vulnerable. And no receiver other than Stephon Diggs had over 25 yards in passing in that 24, receiving in that 24-21 win. Bebsy, we doubled up on the Seahawks. What do you think now on Sunday?
Well, I still think we're just looking at a Seahawks team that is rolling. They're playing good football, minus giving away the end of that Arizona game. They've been fantastic, and they've been consistent, obviously on offense, not on defense. That's another story. But with Buffalo, you know, they came out hot out of the gates like they often do. And we've seen Buffalo storm out to like 5-0, 6-0 starts in the last couple decades, and then they just peter out. I really thought this year was different, but I have not seen a single good output from the Bills since week 3. They have played ugly football. Even in their wins, they have underachieved. So I think coming up against a Seahawks team that is rolling and playing great, I just don't see them being able to get it done today. That's why I'm still very comfortable with this Seahawks bet.
Yeah, I think that's well put. I'm extremely comfortable. Obviously, I don't like seeing 80% on the Seahawks, but Tim Duncan, I can understand why seeing so much money on the Seahawks would make you confident in the Bills. But I understand why we're all on the Seahawks. And I like that we got the 2.5. I like that we got that -1. You got a -0.5 on that first half. I could understand the cappers who are on the over, especially any game that the Seahawks play. If I gave you a free bet on the total, Bebsy, where would you go?
If you gave me a free bet on the total, I think I would go over, and that has more to do with just the ability for Seattle to continue to put up points. And yeah, there's just a little bit I got to address in the chat here. Cut the political shit. This is a sports show. If you want to talk politics, get the fuck out of here. Bye-bye.
There's our guy, Gas Station Sushi in the house. Walla Walla Dose, Noli knows Rocky Meniketti. All right, that is the Seahawks Bills. Walla Walla Dose leaning to the under on Seattle Buffalo. If you do want the over, I would wait. The leading indicator books are moving it down. It's 54.5 and going down at the leading indicator books. Matthew Edwards saying Seahawks are confident, Bills are not. All right, so let's move on to the next spot. We're going to go down the rotation orders. That would be the Broncos-Falcons. Broncos-Falcons. This total opened up at 47.5. It's now at 50. Falcons sitting as 4-point favorites. I got in on Atlanta first half -2.5, full game -3.5. Calvin Ridley dealing with a mild foot sprain, not expected to be in the lineup, didn't practice all week. And Philip Lindsay and Tim Patrick. Philip Lindsay with his foot injury, Tim Patrick has become an extremely important receiver with his hamstring injury. They are both in the lineup. I was bullish on the Falcons on our Tuesday show, Bebsy, and you didn't come with me. Why?
I can't bet on them right now. They're so inconsistent. They're so streaky, and I don't know how they're going to show up. I've bet on the Falcons and lost. You've bet on the Falcons and lost. You're more forgiving than me. I can't get back on them right now.
I think this is a nice time to be on them. Broncos coming off that miracle. I think it's a perfect time to fade these Denver Broncos. Let's see where the money is right now. 65% of the cash on the Falcons, 62% of the tickets on the Falcons, and a huge amount, 80% on the over. Broncos were down 24-3 with 6 minutes left in the third. They scored TDs on 4 of 5 possessions. KJ Hamler, Locke at halftime wasn't sure if he was going to have a job. And then he goes off. He absolutely goes off. He'd only thrown 1 TD all year before that.
Maybe he's playing with that same energy this week. Maybe he's rolling in this game being like, I'm playing for my job. And he responded. So, I understand why you're bullish on the Falcons. They're a better team top to bottom, but it's only in the last couple of weeks we've really seen them get out of it and start playing like that and not completely shitting the bed in the second half and giving away games. So, hey, maybe that keeps happening. Maybe the problem really was Quinn, but I don't have the same faith you do in the Falcons.
Yeah, no, it says that I've been practicing my pronunciation of the Falcons. Spenny Pennybombs loves the Broncos. Al Cervic leaning towards the Broncos. Levi Kressler says Falcons are forever dead to me. Ever since I made money off them, live betting 28-3, they've kicked me in the nuts. I love it. I love it. Let's see what Birdie SA says. Falcons, I'm a bit worried. No McKinley or Jack, though. Ryan's going to have to play well today, but this is a flat spot for after a massive win last week for the Broncos. Happy to fade the Broncos here. Spenny Pennybomb says, please tell me how Atlanta is favored by 4. Please tell me how Atlanta is favored by 4. Coy is on the Broncos. If this miraculous comeback didn't happen, I don't think you'd be asking that, Spenny. I see this Broncos team that should be built to win defensive games need to score to win. And I don't trust them. I don't trust them to score. I have a Falcons team on extra rest. They played that Thursday nighter. They should be on a 3-game winning streak. They held the ball 13 minutes longer than the Panthers. And Julio Jones is going off right now. And I understand with Ridley hurt that you can really focus your attention on him. But I'm loving this spot on the Falcons. So, Bebsy, no addition for you here.
No, I guess I'm a little bit curious of what that first half spread is. That could be an interesting play, just because I could potentially see the Falcons coming out to a early lead and shitting the bed as they often do. But I'd be curious to see if that's a little closer.
Let's see. First half right now is the 3s, and they're heavily juiced. I got in on that 2.5 on our Tuesday show and Tuesday night. I got -2.5 at -115. So that's now a -3, and it's juiced if you want it.
No, there's nothing that's terribly exciting for me in this. And again, I'm still bitter with the Falcons. I don't really want to jump on this game.
AB says you can find a 2.5 at plus or with big juice. I don't see any 2.5s here. I see 3.5s on the board. 3s and 3.5s on the first half. All right, that makes me feel good. Gas Station Sushi says Falcons looking better after the coaching change and the return of Julio Jones. Bleds W does not like the Falcons today. He's on the Broncos plus 180 money line. Tim Duncan says Atlanta gets first home win. All right. That's the second game of the 1 p.m. slate. Let's move on to the Bears-Titans. How am I getting 6.5? I mean, there's 6s now. But I just don't understand. And whenever I don't understand a market in NFL, I usually get burnt. And I just cannot believe that I can get the Bears plus 6.5, or I bet the Bears plus 6.5. I'm sitting in shock. I was impressed with their game against the Saints. They also were able to rush the ball. The Titans, Jadeveon Clowney is not expected to be in the lineup with a knee injury. He's listed as questionable. And I don't care. The Titans are coming off their second straight loss, 30-21 to the Bengals. And that the fact that they lost so badly, I'm not sitting here thinking this is a bounce back spot. What I'm sitting here is thinking this is a market correction because this Titans team is not that good.
I mean, offensively, the Titans team is pretty good. Defensively, they've been terrible all year. They do have Adoree Jackson back in the lineup, and they did pick up Desmond King. I don't know if Desmond is available to play this week, though, because of the COVID transfer rule. I do think that helps them immensely in the secondary, but I'm with you. The defensively, they have been so porous all year, and they've played down to teams and played up to teams as they often do. But that loss last week to the Bengals really was an eye-opener, I think, because I had them steamroll in that game. You and I were head-to-head. You were right. I was wrong. You are great. I am shit. But, yeah, it's really hard to have any confidence in them right now. And so I'm a bit surprised by that line as well.
Yeah. Callum Knight's on Bears plus 6.5 says like a low-scoring field goal game. Marcus Otto liking the Bears plus the points. Well, Lily Gunn joining us. Great to see you, Lily. Rick, the Chicago kid, says Chicago covers all day. Moneyline Global says Titans are better than the Bears. That's the least of my concerns. I'm getting 6.5 points. This is pretty simple. Let's see where the money is into this spot. 61% of the cash on the Titans, 66% of the tickets on the Titans. The tickets, by the way, for the total are slightly leaning to 51% on the under, but all the cash is on the over. What do you think of this total, Bebsy? It is sitting at 46.5 or 47.
It's a tough call because you got one team that just is horrid on offense, but they're playing against a weak defense. And then you got one team that consistently can put up some points, although have not been the same since Taylor Lewan went down. I don't know, man. If you gave me a free play, I think I would lean over, but I'm not too bullish on this one way or the other.
Yeah, it's I'm curious to see what this Titans defense looks like. They cut Beasley, no Clowney. They wasted $13 million on Clowney, $9.5 million on Beasley, but they cut him, so they get a little bit of that back. Turnsey, I just mean that what you'll see in a game with cash and tickets is that just tickets, the percentage of actual bets, just tickets, not money, is what I'm talking about. And when you see a discrepancy like they have here with the total, when you see 51% of the tickets on the under, but the cash on the over, it's a sign that some sharp big bets did come in on the over. So that's the difference between tickets and cash. I really think that loss the Titans had in Cincinnati is just a market correction. I do not trust them.
I think it's a team that plays up and down to their competition, and last week maybe they rolled in a little soft. And I'm not saying today's going to be a bounce back game, but I do think they take the Bears a little more seriously than they took the Bengals, which was obviously a mistake.
Gas Station has a nice point here. Bears and under or Titans and over. Sort of sees it correlated. What do you think of that concept, Bebsy?
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. You know, if the Titans are able to roll and put up points, then you would expect an over, especially because of their defense. So yeah, it wouldn't make sense if you were betting one and then the opposite of the other, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. Birdie agreeing with Gas's look there. Bled somebody says losing to the Bengals is a red flag, and our man West heading down to Costa Rica in a day. You are a lucky man. That will be extremely enjoyable. Okay, let's keep moving along. Next up, we have Lions, Vikings. And I tell you what, knowing that Stafford is on a jet plane made me very, very thankful. Very thankful. I think I'm in a really good spot here on the Lions +4. I also like the under. Bebsy, you are on the under. Let's see what kind of market moves we've seen. Vikings opened up at -3, got up to 4. Then it was taken off the board. And now it's back to -3.5. The Lions open up at Lions-Vikings total opened up at 53.5. It's down to 51 at most books. I think we got in real nice. How are you feeling about your Detroit, Minnesota under, Bebsy?
I felt better before I found out Stafford was playing. But I bet this when I thought he was, so that was just a bonus. I still feel pretty good about this, and I wonder how effective Stafford will be after a week in isolation. I think one way or another that does affect him on the field today. So I still like my under play here. I think it's still a pretty good look.
Yeah, agreed. Everson Griffin, are we going to see his debut? I'm not sure if he's going to be in the lineup. I think he likely will be. Lions are angry after that 41-21 trouncing, 7 straight home loss. And Stafford looked good last week, 336 yards, 3 TDs, did throw an interception. The issue was that Peterson and DeAndre Swift are doing nothing. And Galladay hurt. So Marvin Hall, TJ Hawkinson are going to be getting all the attention. That concerns me. You watched that Vikings Green Bay game closely. Dalvin Cook was spectacular. What's your expectation of this Viking squad sitting at 2-5? Do you think they can make a late run and have a chance at the playoffs?
I just don't know if I see it. I feel like the Green Bay game was a bit more of an anomaly than anything. I think maybe coming off the bye, they exploited some things that Green Bay doesn't do well, in particular run defense. So some of the guys earlier in the chat were talking about prop bets. Well, if you want to start looking at unders for Cook this week, because they're going to be juiced right now after the performance that he had last week. So, there's an obvious look. We talk about this a lot. When somebody has a record day, you bet them under next time. But I don't know. There's still too many missing pieces on Minnesota. They have no secondary. Their pass rush is significantly diminished without Danielle Hunter. Everson Griffin is now playing for the team that they're playing against today, but Everson Griffin didn't do much in Dallas. I don't know how much he's going to do in Detroit. Something's off with him. I don't know. Maybe he's not the player he was. Maybe he's done. Who knows? But no, I don't have a ton of faith in Minnie getting their season back. I would maybe like to see it just to add a little more competition to this league that I feel is becoming a lot of guys at the top and a lot of guys at the bottom, and the middle is sort of disappearing right now.
Yeah, no, that's interesting and well put. In all honesty, at this point, I'm much more comfortable with my under 52.5 than I am with the Lions +4. I agree with your statement that Stafford not being around the team all week, it's not helpful. James,
the guy's a vet. The guy's been their quarterback for a long time. It's not like he doesn't know the system, but it's still hard. You get out of sync not practicing all week, and I do believe that does affect him, at least in the early onset of this game.
There's a couple – the moving parts in this game are that Vikings pass defense is terrible. So they got to play a game with 25-mile-per-hour winds where Rodgers couldn't move the ball through the air because of the wind, and that allowed the Vikings to look good and allowed that young secondary that's completely beaten up. I mean, Dantzler hurt. He has a chance to play today. It's game time decision. Chris Boyd hurt. Mark Fields with a pinhole puncture of his lung. Holton Hill's being out. Those are all cornerbacks. All cornerbacks.
Yeah, they're pretty battered. That's why I'm not interested in this line at all. This spread. I think it's too tough to call. Scott Cranaker is saying stay away game, and I'm going to go ahead and agree with Scott. However, I do still like the underplay in this. I think it's under or nothing here.
Yeah, and Dennis Garcia also on the under from earlier in the week. 80 Proof TV says that 86.5 yards rushing for Cook is something to back. Says Lions run defense stinks. I'm always extremely hesitant to back a player prop after a very successful or a career.
Yeah, but Cook over 88 still looks pretty good. I mean, he's not going to put up 200-plus yards this week, but 88, I think he can cover 88.
Sorry, and then Jalen Walker says Adams had 3 TDs. How is Rodgers struggling? In the 28-22 loss, let me just pull up the exact stats so I don't put myself in a mistake, but I mean, we know that the one spot that the Vikings are so susceptible is through the air. And let's just go to this box score right now. Rodgers 27-41 for 291 yards, 3 TDs. So yeah, look, You're right. It wasn't a terrible game. So I remember watching it thinking that they weren't able to abuse the Vikings when they should have been. But no, you're right. You're right, Jalen. Okay, let's move on to Ravens Colts. We have COVID playing an issue here. I don't know if you have any last information or the latest information on COVID for the Ravens. Do we have any late information?
Nothing else that I have seen. Maybe the chat's found something that I haven't, but I haven't seen any updates in the last 24 hours anyways.
Chuck Fu says, I haven't heard you guys pick one game and go all in on it. We have double ups all over the place, Chuck Fu. So I've doubled up on first half full game on the Falcons and the Seahawks. But it is important to beat these market moves, Chuck. And when I'm sitting here looking at the Seahawks -3, I'm happy I got a -2.5. So Atlanta first half, I'm happy I have -2.5. If it was -3, would I be as bullish on it? I'm not sure. Marlon Humphrey is out. The other 6 players are good in this Ravens Colts spot. Let's take a closer look at this game here. Baltimore opens up as 2-point favorites, Bebsy. The Colts are now the favorites. Do you support that market move?
Not so much, because I think a lot of is probably overblown due to Marlon Humphrey being out and the other COVID concerns. But if Marlon's the only player out, I don't know if Phillip Rivers is the guy who's going to exploit that. In fact, I would argue that he is not. And look, the Ravens, they're a team that, they next man up better than most teams in the league. So as great as Marlon Humphrey is and as important as he is to this team, I don't know if that's going to have as big of an impact as people are looking at with this. I wonder with the lack of preparation with these other guys sitting around not practicing this week, but this is enticing to look at the Ravens on this one. I do not agree with the market going in favor of the Colts. Oh man, I'm definitely leaning Ravens right now.
The Ronnie Stanley injury,
that's critical.
Yeah,
that is huge. They were clearly not the same without him.
Then you have Tyree Phillips hurt as well. So DJ Fluker comes in, and he has such an important role now with this team. Lamar Jackson has not looked good. Can Dez Bryant help him?
I don't know what kind of an impact Dez Bryant's going to make. I mean, right now, Dez Bryant's nothing more than a name. He hasn't played football in 3 years. Look, even then, 3 years ago, he was not very good. There's a reason why Dez Bryant stopped playing football. Nobody really wanted him, and then he came back for that training camp with, I think it was the Saints, and then he tore his Achilles. Besides, wrestling for a ball, I don't know how great Dez Bryant even was. So that's a file it under who gives a shit for me. I don't see Dez making any kind of impact.
I agree. I don't see much there. But Lamar has not looked good. And last week was about as bad as I've seen him look. 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. 4 turnovers are too much to overcome. The Ravens ran for 265 yards last week. That's going to be difficult with this Colts lineup with Darius Leonard back. God, he looked so good last week. 9 tackles and a strip sack. They allowed 5 yards rushing in the first half and 29 yards total. So can the Colts stop the Ravens running game, Bebsy?
I mean, look, this Ravens running game put up 280 points against an as good or better defense. So, and look, that's Greg Roman. Greg Roman loves a running game where you're getting multiple guys contributing to it. So, look, I think they can still run the ball, but the problem is the Colts are very well coached and they have a very good defense, and they have Darius Leonard back. So if they can find a way to shut that running game down and force Lamar to throw, there's where I see the problems. Because I don't know if Lamar is becoming unsure of himself, like he's starting to listen to some of what's being said about him, which is very dangerous, or if it's actually just the league is catching up to him. Because we've seen that before. We've seen guys come out, do something that people, don't really know how to handle, and then all of a sudden they get brought back down to earth.
I agree. Steve Whitaker going for a giant score here. Seahawks -3, Steelers -14, over 52, Raiders, Chargers, over 50.5, Bucks, Saints, 1,200 to pay out, $30K for Steve Whitaker. That's exciting. So the more we talk about it, and the more I kind of want to make a move here on the Ravens now at plus money. What's keeping you off making that bet, Bebsy?
I think what's keeping me off this bet is, for one, the injury to Ronnie Stanley. However, losing a player like that, I thought I said this before, the Ravens' ability to play next man up football is better than most teams in the NFL, and I thought Fluker and Brown did a good job. Obviously, they're not Ronnie Stanley, but they did do a reasonably good job. I think my question marks come down to the COVID issue, not necessarily with Marlon being out, but with the other 6 guys not getting in a regular week of practice. So there's my apprehension. Plus, like you're mentioning, the Lamar struggles as of late. Is it him in a slump, or is it the league catching up to him? And look, the Colts are a well-coached team. Maybe they're onto something too. I certainly lean Ravens, but there's a bit of apprehension. A lot of that has to do with me being a coward.
I can agree with you, but is this a bias right now because of how bad Lamar was last week? Hollywood,
I don't think you can put too much stock into last week. You can't look at that Ravens-Steelers matchup and pretend to know more about those teams after that game. We have seen those teams beat the absolute shit out of each other for decades now. Like they hate each other. Everyone gets up to play. It's always an erratic game when you just can't put stock into that game and move forward with it.
Yeah, I think that. Okay, I'm close. I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw, but I'm close to adding the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is a good time to bet the Ravens. You have the Colts coming off a great-looking 41-21 victory where everything went smoothly, especially with Leonard patrolling the middle of the defense. And then the Ravens coming off what looked like a slam dunk at halftime. And I doubled up on the Ravens last week. I had them first half and full game. And at halftime, I was sitting back very, very comfortable with my action. So I'm very close to moving on the Ravens. Bebsy, this total, let's go over this total very quickly here. This Ravens total is sitting at 48. What do you think of that number?
I think I lean under in this just because I feel like this winds up being a full ground game affair. This just feels like a rush attack from both teams. Again, it's my lack of faith in both of these quarterbacks right now. So, yeah, I can see an under.
All right, I'm still hesitant, and you know what? I like my card quite a bit, and I don't know if I'm going to add the Ravens at this point. Certainly will think about it. Let's move on to Panthers Chiefs. This total opened up at 51. It's now at 52.5. By the way, surprisingly, a lot of money is on the Ravens. They have the money and the tickets, so that scares me. I was hoping to see a lot on the Colts, and that definitely scares me. Jason White says Ravens locker room issues as well. GamerBot says pull the trigger. Dennis Garcia says Lamar lost that game by himself. Can't throw a pick six in a game like that. 200 more yards of offense and still lose. One reason, Lamar turnovers. Schnizzle on the Ravens. All right, let's move on to Panthers Chiefs and see what we are dealing with. Chiefs open up at minus 12.5. That's all the way down to 10 right now. A beautiful weather everywhere, but there is wind, 19-mile-per-hour wind in Kansas City, 73 Fahrenheit, 19-mile-per-hour wind. Panthers are on extra rest. They played on that Thursday nighter in that loss. The Falcons, they've lost 3 straight. And McCaffrey going to be back in action here. How much does that change this Panthers offense?
I think it gives them a lift. I don't think it, blows them over the top or anything. I don't think this is as great as Christian McCaffrey is. I think we saw the offense open up a bit in his absence. It started to bog down. Like they started out great without him, and then it really slowed down a lot. But I do think it's important getting him back. Obviously, a player of that caliber. I'm hoping that they adjust accordingly in that they still open up that offense, but now they can go to the Christian McCaffrey well instead of giving it to Mike Davis, who clearly over the last couple of weeks has diminished.
He has. It's got to help them on third down. That's why they've been getting destroyed. They were 2 for 10 on third down against the Falcons. That has to change. Dennis Garcia is moving on the Panthers at plus 10.5. Zamora saying KC run D sucks. Their pass defense is much better. Frank Clark will be good to go. He's been dealing with a knee injury. It's being reported that he will be in the lineup. That will help them. They're coming off that 35-9 home win over the Jets. Mahomes threw 5 touchdown passes. They looked very, very good. But
Matthew Edwards saying KC may be getting too comfortable. And, just seeing that, again, I hated it and loved it at the same time. That dancing on the field mid-game last week was hysterical. But, yeah, I mean, maybe this KC team is getting a little too comfortable. That's my apprehension. We talked about on Tuesday, I said I was hoping that maybe this line would get bet down a bit. It didn't. That's why I'm still not terribly interested in this one.
No, I'm not. By the way, I'm not going to take the Ravens. That game makes me pretty uncomfortable. To Panthers, Chiefs, I agree that the Panthers at 10.5 or 10 would be the look, especially at 12 or 12.5 where they opened up. And what do you think of this total, Bebsy, sitting at 52.5?
I mean, this does look like an over spot for me. Again, it's hard for me ever to take unders with this Chiefs team just because you see how quickly they can put up points. So I can see a lot of the Chiefs getting a ton of points here. I can see the Panthers still putting up some points. Again, this Chiefs defense isn't their strength. Panthers offense is their strength. So, yeah, I mean, this would be an overplay for me.
That look by 80 proof on the Panthers team total over might be a very sharp move. What do you think of that team total at 19.5 for the Panthers? Let's see what I'd get if I could bet that right now.
All right. I mean, it's I get it. I'd like to see it. I don't know if I am as keen on it as you seem to be.
20.5 now. It's moved from 19.5 to 20.5 in my book. That's heavily juiced to the under. William Cathcart saying Chiefs have covered 5 of the last 17 games. Xavier's on the Mahomes over 2.5 touchdown prop. That is the Panthers Chiefs. All right, let's move on to Texans Jaguars and COVID issues here. Texans have 3 linebackers out of the lineup, and they were my survivor pick, and I switched it. I'm using the Patriots instead. Both teams coming off buys right now, and we get to see this team without the mustache leading the way. What is your expectation of Jake Luton here, the 6th-round pick out of Oregon State? And I doubled up. So I'm all over this game. I have a ton invested in this game. I have Texans first half -4, full game -7, and the Jacksonville Jaguars team total under 20.5. I do not trust Luton to be able to move the ball. And I mean, if you go back to Oregon State, they were a bad football team. I mean, they went 5-7 in 2019. So he didn't help improve that shitty Oregon State team, and I don't trust them to make much headway here this week. What are your expectations of Luton and the Jags, Bebsy?
I mean, you pretty much said it. How can you have any expectations of this guy? He's a 6th-round rookie that played on a shitty team in college. Now he's on a bad NFL team. This is going to be a long day for Mr. Luton. I would love to be dead wrong there. I think we would all really get excited about some guy coming out of a garbage team in college in the 6th round and becoming the next Tom Brady. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to get smashed today, even with the absence of those. I think I almost said abscess. Even with the absence of those linebackers for the Texans, this is going to be a bad day for the Jags.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad day for the Jags. You only took the Texans first half. You got the 3.5. You didn't take them full game. Why is that?
I don't have a lot of faith in the Texans right now. They're a bad football team. So it's a bad football team playing a worse football team. It's why I didn't get super excited about the full game play here. I can see them taking their foot off the gas and possibly getting a backdoor cover. I'm just a little more comfortable with that first half play than the full game. However, I'm not far off from wanting to jump on the full game as well. Houston is at least got a good starting quarterback in here, not a 6th-round pick from Oregon State.
Money is coming on the over as well here. Money's come in on the over, and yet it's dropped. Opened up at 51. It's now dropped down to 48.5 at some books. It's dropped fast. What do you think of this total here?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to lean over. However, the incompetency of what I expect out of the Jags today makes me say under. Like, how do the Jags put up points if Luton is terrible?
Yeah.
Which all logic suggests he will be.
I got that team total at 20.5. At this point, I think it might be my best look on the entire card. Let's see what it is right now. The team total.
I just don't know who puts up points for the Jags today. That's why I can't get excited about an over here. As much as I think the Texans can put up points.
I got that team total under 20.5 at -110. It's still at 20.5, but it's now at -138. Aaron maybe says this is an underplay for the Texans. Jason White says Texans defense can't stop a soul.
Yeah, but Jason, the Jags don't have a soul. That's the problem. Is like, we all know the Texans defense isn't very good, but if there's a chance for them to get a little bit of pride this week by saying, hey, we only let up 7 points this week. This is the week to do it. They are playing a bad team's backups.
Yeah. I wonder, the more I think of that Texans defense, the thing about this Texans defense is they get slaughtered on the ground, and Jacksonville's been able to do nothing on the ground of late. I'd be surprised if they're able to hurt this team, and they're beat up too. Miles Jack, Jared Wilson, very important players. Dakota Allen, the linebacker situation's a mess without Jack, and then Dakota Allen comes in and then he gets hurt. So I've doubled up on the Texans first half, full game. Jacksonville team total under 20 Let's move on to the final 1 p.m. game. Giants, Washington Football Club, 72 Fahrenheit, sunny, 2 miles per hour. I moved on Washington. You moved on the under 42. Washington is still at 3. There's even a 2.5 on the board. And that -3 is at plus money now. It's a little concerning. This total is sitting at 43 now. You got in it at 42, so it's gone up a point. Giants on that short week after a nice performance against the Bucs. I love fading teams who have a nice performance on Monday night. And that was pretty much my plan. We have a Giants team on a short week after looking very good against the Buccaneers, going up against the Redskins team that's coming in off their bye week. And Washington's defense was nasty. And I know it was against the Cowboys, but nasty. How are you feeling about your under in Giants-Washington?
I love my under in this play because for the very simple reason you kind of only have to look at one team here in that Washington's offense has been putrid all year. Their defense, at least, I've said this from week 1 on, their front 7 is very good. And they're just going to go after Daniel Jones. I don't see either team being able to put up many points in this. I really I love this under. I don't think Landon Collins is that big of a deal. Landon Collins the guy's a box safety, and their front 7 is fine without him. I don't know how much of an issue Landon Collins is. I'm still bullish on this under. I really like this play. I see Daniel Jones struggling hard against this front 7. The only thing that really worries me about this possible over is the Washington defense putting up points. Interesting
take. I'm happy I'm on these skins here. And it just simply does come down to the Giants on a short week and the skins off of a bye week. It's a perfect situation. And everybody watching the Giants play so well against the Buccaneers, again, makes it a perfect situation to back the skins. Let's see where the money is here in this spot. It's very tight. So there's slightly more money on the Giants, slightly more tickets on the Giants, and the over is a little more than that. Dennis Garcia on the Giants, and he just took the under 43 right now. So Dennis Garcia backing it. And Ron Lofton says Giants are a good road dog cover team. This is a nice low spread, nice tight low spread. I think that I'm in business here with Washington, but I'm certainly not bullish. And you sound bullish on the under, and after breaking it down, Dennis Garcia jumps on the under. So William Cathcart says good luck backing Washington. I feel pretty good about it. So those are your 1 p.m. games here. Bebsy, let's review your 1 p.m. action. You have the Seahawks first half -0.5, Seahawks full game -2.5, Detroit, Minnesota under 53, Texans first half -3.5, Giants, Washington under 42. What's your best bet?
I mean, again, it's hard to stay off that Seattle first half a point. That's it's just wild to think that that's all that is. And the reason being, we know what Seattle is. They have been the same team every single week. Buffalo started out great. They started out with impressive first halves and hung on to win in the first 3 weeks. But now, 4 weeks in a row, bad performances. Therefore, first half Seattle, especially with the way Seattle's been able to jump out early and put up points. That's why I really love that play.
Yeah, I can completely understand it. I have the double up in Seattle. I have Atlanta first half, Atlanta full game. Detroit, Minnesota under 52.5. Detroit +4. Houston first half, Houston full game. Jacksonville team total under 20.5. And I think that Jacksonville team total under 20.5 is my favorite spot. I think that's my favorite spot. Canadian Capper saying my hat is having injuries, threads coming out, or rips. Maybe I have to switch hats for the second half show. That's how we're doing things now. This is our 1 p.m. game show live here on YouTube. We move over to odds.com for the afternoon games and the Monday nighter. So follow us over there. That's where we are going right now. Head over to odds.com to catch the rest of the show. King Al says, what's your best bet, Jimmy? I didn't catch it. I would say Jacksonville team total under 20.5. And Nathan Cerna saying Matt Milano is out. Matt Milano is out. That makes sense to me. He's been playing less and less snaps each week. So Bebsy said that on the Tuesday show that you should put him out. Let him get better. Let him get better.
Yeah. Stop playing the guy wounded and let him just heal.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Jump over to odds.com for the afternoon games and the Monday nighter. We are going there right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Dylan Turner, Al Cervic, Nathan Cerna, Canadian Capper, West, Terrell Goodman, Jason White, Wheeler Dreamer, Prince of the City, Dennis Serro. Dennis is on the Bills money line. Vincent Gigante Intex. Head over to odds.com. And that's where we will be capping the rest of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Get paid.